Hey, this is Nick Millevoi.
And this is Jason Shadrick.
And this is the 100 Guitarist Podcast. We talk about one of the 100 guitarists that we think you should know on every episode.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, why don't you do the honors?
Woo! Well, you got your shot with Neil Young.
Mm-hmm.
This week, we're talking about one of my all-time favorite guitar players. Yes, I am biased. His name is Jimmy Herring from the great state of Georgia.
Three, what position does he hold?
That's a good question. I can't say one, but he's not three.
That sounds very clear then.
So, I mean, he's up there for me. He's an incredible player, the nicest guy ever. And we are going to go deep into his discography. Deeper, Nick, than you ever could imagine you would ever go into a jam band player's discography.
Those are very true words.
Yes.
Much deeper than I've ever gone, and I learned a lot along the way in my listening journey, which we'll get into. And we have a special guest with us today.
Yes, we have Rob Compa, formerly of the band Dopapod, former Premier Guitar lesson columnist. By the way, I don't know if I even told you that. Right now plays in the band Neighbor. And most importantly, his most defining feature is that he lives in Burlington, Vermont. So that's the hub of all things jam band. So that's all I needed to know. We brought Rob in, and me and Rob geeked out while you chimed in from time to time with your dissenting opinions, I guess. I don't know.
I like to think I served as
I think you did great.
Balancing opinion.
Don't want to spoil it.
I don't dissent much.
Nick, we made sure for Nick to save his favorite Jimmy Herring record till the very end of the show.
It's true.
That's true.
It's true.
Right.
I got to drop would you call that a deep cut? It's not really a deep cut.
No, it's not a deep cut. No.
But Rob had never heard it.
Yeah, but then again, Rob even self-admittedly, he did not have his finger on the pulse of what's been coming out the last 7 years, apparently.
But what I will say is that I think if you're like me, I like to think that if you're like me and you've heard about Jimmy Herring, you've heard like this guy's really great. People say he's amazing, but the jam-ness of it is intimidating or whatever. Or you've heard a few things, you've heard some widespread panic stuff, and it's not really for you, but you've heard this guy's really great and you want to know where to go. I tried to make sure that between the two of you guys getting super duper deep on the deepest of deep jam cuts, that I think it's all in there. I think this is, hopefully we delivered a little bit for everybody in this conversation.
I think you can walk away from this episode with a slightly more curated view of Jimmy's recorded output than probably what I gave you.
Well, before we get to all that, we want to remind you can get at us by dropping us a line. You can hit us up at 100 guitarists at premierguitar.com. You can also send a voicemail or text to 319-423-9734. And while you're at it, do us a favor. Go ahead. If you're on YouTube down here, give us a little thumbs up. Subscribe to Premier Guitar's YouTube channel. And if you're listening to this podcast, wherever you're listening, please be sure to rate and review the 100 Guitarist Podcast.
Mm-hmm. All right. And today's episode is brought to you by Rocky Mountain Slide Company.
Sure is.
And we've had them. They've been a big supporter of the show. We've talked about them before. They make not only slides, but picks, which has been my latest discovery with them. And look at these guys. Nice little thing there.
A similar one here.
We got one here with a little thumb indentation there. I like these thick picks. They're stiff, but what I really like is the bevel on them. That's what, when you're dealing with a thick pick, you got to have the right kind of bevel. It can't just be straight, right? And Doc over there really does a fine job about this. So even if you aren't a slide player, head on over there, check out all their picks, and they have all different types of materials, sizes, shapes, anything you can imagine. If you really want to experiment with your pick material and size, go grab a handful of some and experiment.
Yeah,
and,
a lot of fun to be had there.
A lot of fun to be had. Tell us about what you got.
If you are a slide player,
that's right.
There's also a lot of materials. I think that, Doc is like he's making the widest variety of materials and slides that I'm aware of. And every time I look through this box, there's materials that I've never used in a slide before, and they all have something new to offer. I just played a lap steel gig with one of his tone bars that was it just feels so great. It's really nice tactile thing. Right here I have 2 slides I want to show off. This is the Element Series Mountain Cougar Tiger Eye. Take a look at that. This is a cool material. It's like a stone, right? You see that? And really nice warm feel, nice warm sound. I like this a lot more. Forever I've been a brass slide guy, and I've really come into these natural stone slides. I'm feeling it. Over here I have the Black Queen Bee. This is really cool. I don't know what material this one is. It's some kind of stone, but it's really cool. Honestly, it's like,
is it heavy?
I want a countertop of this material. It's a nice weight. This is pretty heavy. But it's closed end. I've really enjoyed this, but I've been going to this one more. So God, every slide I've tried, and at this point now, Rocky Mountain Slides have sponsored a lot of our episodes. I've had a lot of different slides to check out. Every one offers something new and helps me find a new sound. Check them out. Do yourself a favor. Just go buy a couple things, experiment. I think that's the best way you could approach those slides, is just experiment. Try some stuff you've never tried before and see where
these are the world's cheapest EQ pedal.
Yeah, absolutely. Pick material, man.
You want to change your sound a little bit without committing to anything else, just get some new picks. So head on over to Rocky Mountain Slides, check it out. And with that, Nick, I think we should get to our Jimmy Herring deep dive.
Here we go.
All right. Rob, how are you doing all the way from the jam band haven that is Vermont? I knew if we're talking jam bands, I have to get a Vermont resident on the call.
It's the only qualification I needed.
That's it. That is it. So, Rob, we haven't caught up in a while. Formerly of Dopapod, now of Neighbor, which one of my other favorite guitar players, Lyle Brewer, was in, and you took over for Lyle. How's the Neighbor gig going?
It's going great, man. I'm finally. I mean, they have a lot of music, so it's taken a long time for it to become sort of second nature. But I finally am starting to get comfortable enough where I don't need any cheat sheets in front of me, and I can look around and enjoy the gig and smile and have a great time. And it's really a game changer to get it internalized a little better,
That's great.
So we're having fun. Yeah.
You guys hitting some shows this fall, doing some recording? What do you got going on?
All of that. Yeah. We do at least 2 weekend runs every month, but next month we're doing a whole a tour, 2 weeks or something like that, which I haven't been away from home for that long of a stretch since last year. And my kid's a lot more of a handful when he was then. So I'm more worried about my wife than myself and how she's going to be,
That's right.
But yeah, we have that, and we're going to start recording while we're out on the road on a couple of off days too. Because they have so much music that they only have one album on Spotify, but they have so many songs. It's crazy. So
you're going to record the box set first as the first thing, and then kind of do it backwards.
I guess so. Yeah. If you like. Yeah.
All right. Well, I've brought you all here for a very important reason, and that is to pay tribute to one of our collectively favorite guitar players, Jimmy Herring. Now, Rob, I got to ask you, when did you first become aware of Jimmy Herring?
I was fresh out of high school, maybe a freshman in college. And I used to go see this band locally called The Niche, and I was friends with them, and I would sit in with them and stuff. And their keyboard player one night was like, "Do you like Jimmy Herring?" And I was like, "I don't know who that is." And he was like, I would have sworn that you loved him because you kind of remind me of him a little bit when you play. his
in
words,
high
not
school.
mine. I probably didn't sound that great, but it was kind of him enough to like at least make that comparison. I was like, wow, okay, I'll check him out, And I remember being like, is he tasteful? And he was like, he's the most tasteful. You're not even gonna believe it.
Tastiest.
Yeah. And I don't think YouTube was even a thing yet. So I actually went on Aquarium Rescue Unit's website, which was like, it looked like just like their fan made it. Yeah, like a fan made it or something. And they had some video clips of like, that the footage in like Florida where he's got the Seattle Mariners hat on and the black strat. And that was the first Jimmy Herring I ever heard.
That's a ripping solo he takes on that tune.
I mean, it was I was almost like, you can't do that, I was, I don't remember which song it was. It was just a random clip, but I was like, you can't do that.
That was post. That lineup of Aquarium Rescue was post Bruce Hampton.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
With Paul Hansen, right?
Yeah. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Kofi was there too.
And
yeah.
Sipe and O'Teal and yep.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So Nick, let's flash back to last week when you first discovered Jimmy Herring.
All right, so we I tried to save any discussion about this other than your recommendations.
Was it
for the podcast here?
That was an all-time. My recommendation list for you. That's an all-time, and that was off the top of my head.
There's no place. Listen, there's nothing that isn't worth suggesting.
I mean, I was going even into like the sideman stuff where he makes an album, we got deep into Frogwings.
Yeah. Hang on. Hey, let's talk about that for a second.
Look.
Look at that right there. Boom. He's ready.
All right. Everybody who's not a jam band fan is going to just turn off at this point because I will tell you, there is an art to curation. Okay. Jason gave me a listening. He goes, here's the essential Jimmy Herring. And 5 minutes later, my Apple Music Spotify or my Apple Music algorithm was destroyed because I'm adding all these things. And then he goes, oh, dude, I forgot. You have to listen to Croakin' Toads by Frogwings. I was like, dude, you say that to somebody who's not into jam bands, that's it. You completely lose the other person. You have to, there's a craft. Croakin' Toads by Frogwings is not, that just sounds like exactly what I think somebody's jam band's album would be. So it's like,
you're saying it was like AI would have come up if you're like, hey, ChatGPT, name me a live jam band album from the 90s, and they'll be like, early 2000s, they'll be like, yeah, Croakin' Toads live Frogwings.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And so I did put it on. I did put on Croakin' Toads by Frogwings, and the first song I was like, this is great. Okay, and then John Popper started singing on the next track, and I was like, okay, I don't know about this. I'm not a John Popper guy, but I'll back up just to back up a little bit. So you dumped all this stuff on me, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I have to wade through here? But this has been a little bit of a journey for me, and I bet that I'm not the only person who feels this way, because I have heard since I was in high school that Jimmy Herring is somebody I need to check out. And everything I would hear Widespread Panic. I almost said String Cheese Incident, so you can see where you can see how all of this lump I've made in my in my musical brain. Like I heard them, it didn't really do it for me. That wasn't for me. But then I would hear little clips of things. Somebody would be like, check out this solo, and I'd be like, okay, Jimmy Herring is incredible. Okay, show me the thing, right? Show me the thing. And I've never gotten there, and I've never done a serious deep dive. Saw some live videos here and there where I've been blown away by Jimmy Herring's playing. But this was the first time I extensively listened to Jimmy Herring for the past few days, doing my research here. And I have, I've listened to all of the notes a lot of times.
I was gonna say, you're looking good. I don't know what it is, but yeah, you just look like you're feeling good.
Notes. Yeah.
So anyway, that's my perspective here. Is I'm totally new to this. I have been looking for the right Jimmy Herring that I'm gonna like, and I believe I found it.
Don't spill it yet. Don't spill it yet.
It's not Widespread Panic. It's and it for me, Aquarium Rescue Unit is a strong taste. So it wasn't that either.
Okay, well, hold on.
I would say that, just for the future, Rob, I don't know what your perspective on this is. I don't know I would love to hear, I will get to it, where you would point somebody to. But for Jason, I would say next time somebody's coming in, curate.
I did.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, I did. I said, I told you.
Rob, the list just went on and on.
Well,
I understand.
You go ahead.
Well, I think if it were me, I would have started with Kickin' Bach off of Croakin' at Toads. That would have been the first.
Great tune. That one was great.
Especially just even just the solo, Jimmy's solo from it. Like I could have fast forwarded to that. That's usually one of my favorite things is showing somebody that solo who's never heard it before and watching their reaction.
Yeah.
I've had, I remember that when I first got that Croakin' at Toads CD, I put it on in the Dopapod van when we were driving to some show, and I was like, just wait, you're not going to believe this. Just the Jimmy solo. I mean, everything's great about it, like Oteil's solo right before everything, but when they go into double time for his solo and it starts off really long tony and then all of a sudden it's kind of warp speed.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the most ideal lead guitar tone I've ever heard in my life. It's just everything to me,
His tone, that I remember hearing him play on that Phil Lesh record. That would have been high school or college.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing his guitar tone was something that really caught where I was like, oh, what's this guy? That's different. That's unique. And I really vibed on that for sure.
Yeah. But anyways, so you did get shown Croakin' at Toads first, and I guess that wasn't the place, But
Kickin' Bach would have done it, just the track. It was, and for me, my
there's no singing on it either. So
that's the thing. My problem with the album has nothing to do with Jimmy Herring. It's that I feel like I've listened to the Blues Traveler that I need to hear in my life. So I'm just John Popper-phobic.
Yeah. And Widespread Panic wouldn't be where I would first show somebody Jimmy Herring either, because it's not his band,
Yeah.
So it's like he does the job he's supposed to do in that band because he's a professional, that's what
he definitely,
that's
when
what
he joined the
pros
band almost 20 years ago now. I'd known of Widespread before then, of course, but having him in the band made me want to listen to it more. I never had a real inkling to listen to Widespread in any kind of focused way until he joined the band. And then when I saw the band, I realized two things. One, they might be the most rocking, and I mean that in a literal sense, jam band out there. They can get to a heavy rock situation.
Yeah.
Because they were doing a tour with them and the Allman Brothers. And so Derek and Warren and Jimmy all played with both bands. And I mean, the time I saw Widespread, actually Keys, Nick, came with us to go see Widespread. And Keys, not a jam band guy, to see Widespread when they were here in Iowa. And the encore was Ace of Spades.
Nice.
I mean,
I just listened to a show where they did Comfortably Numb.
Yep.
Because I was like, am I really about to hear Jimmy Herring play David? I got to hear that.
How was it? Great?
Yeah. Well, it was awesome because he did his own thing with it. He didn't
play the solo?
He played the important parts, but he still did exactly what I was hoping, which was I want to hear what Jimmy Herring would play if he was in the driver's
Pink
seat.
Floyd, yeah.
Exactly. He didn't do the first solo. They turned it into a piano solo instead. But I got to hear him at the end, and it was great.
Yeah, give JoJo some love.
That's a tough thing to wrestle with as a David Gilmour fan too, because you want that solo to be what you've always known it to be. But I also want to hear Jimmy Herring just do Jimmy Herring's thing.
So there's a weird thing about covers in there. I would say that with David Gilmour, it's I agree with you. You want that solo to be what you want it to be, but at the same time, nobody's guitar sounds like David Gilmour, and you also kind of don't want any other guitar sound to play that solo, right? So that's sort of a weird clash of ideas.
Yeah, it was great though. I've heard it the way we all know it so many times, But talking about covers, that also made it pop into my head. Is that Jazz is Dead might be a good first immersion into Jimmy too, particularly Blue Light Rain, in my opinion.
Yes, particularly.
I listened to some of that. I could get with that. I like the Dead.
Yeah, the Crazy Fingers that opens that record is and it's also, it's not super in your face as far as Jimmy can get. It's a little more like it's a little more of like a gentle immersion into what he's all about, which might be a good place to start, you know.
I just flashed on another one I should have put on your list, Nick. And that was really, and what it was, and this ties into it because it was probably the first time I heard Jimmy Herring was on the live with a little help from my friend's Government Mule record.
Oh, interesting.
The purple cover.
Yeah.
I'm not even familiar with that one.
Oh, dude, it's so good. It's like, I think it was the 98-99 New Year's Eve. And it's Government Mule with Woody and Derek Trucks, Chuck Leavell, Bernie Royale, Jimmy Herring, Mark Ford all sit in on it.
Pretty killer.
Cool. That's a nice thing with Jimmy too, is because he's a sideman a lot of the time. So there's like way more out there than you even think there is. And like even now, like listening to him for 20 years, I just found out about like more Jimmy Herring that I didn't know existed. Because a lot of times it's not under his name, so you don't know.
Right.
You know.
That's a tough thing with a side musician, though, right? Is like, so it's like, you know, not to keep coming back to Frogwings, but it's like there's this other element that is shaping my taste, right? There's this other element that's shaping my perception of this music. It has nothing to do with Jimmy Herring. So that could be a great Jimmy Herring thing, but I just have an aversion to John Popper. So it's like, so de facto, I don't like it, right? And Aquarium Rescue Unit, I listened to that stuff. That stuff is cool. It's definitely a specific thing. That's outside of my taste. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't move me, but I can listen to it and like Jimmy sounds amazing. But the songs, that stuff for me isn't doing it. But can we talk about the things that I'm into? Can we go there? Jason wants to hold up. Okay.
I was curious, which ARU did you listen to?
The first record, the self-titled,
the live one.
Oh, okay. My favorite is Mirrors of Embarrassment for that.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like
that's those are real like 1A, 1B for me.
Yeah.
So,
but that can be a little tough because there's like some sort of like residual, just barely on the fringes of 80s leftover production sometimes.
Yes.
That I'm into.
And sometimes you like that. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's
like,
Nick's jam.
Yeah, like Jimmy's tone is like a little more scooped than I'm used to back then.
Totally.
You know, it's still awesome, but sometimes it's a very specific moment in time as far as Jimmy Herring's.
Have you had any like guitar hangs with Jimmy there, Rob?
Not guitar hangs. I've met him a couple of times, but it's not like I play guitar with him. Just, said hi as a fan, kind of.
Because it's interesting when you talk about that mid scoop thing, because I did the first rig rundown with him years and years ago.
Yeah, the one where he was using the telly and stuff.
Yeah, that was basically, it was like this studio in North Carolina, and I flew out there for the weekend. He was doing like this retreat that basically served as like rehearsals for the band right before like, and then from there they went out on tour. Like the last day of the retreat, the tour bus was pulling up and they were loading up and heading off. And we recorded that about 1 a.m.
Wow.
And I remember I got to play a little bit through his rig, and that's the first thing I noticed is that this real like mid-range punch. You know what I mean? Like through it, it was great. It was definitely like, wow, we're gonna take this Ferrari around the corner type thing.
Did you feel comfortable with
Nope.
his sound?
Nope.
Yeah, I've always gotten that impression that it's as huge and as like amazing as it sounds. That it's, if anybody else used it, they would maybe feel a little naked through it or something.
I've had friends play through Trey's rig and said the same thing.
Really?
Yeah. You're just like, it sounds, I mean, I don't sound like Trey when I play through it. I don't sound like Jimmy when I play through it. But if given my druthers, as much as I love hearing Trey or Jimmy play through their rig, that's just not for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's break this down a little bit into different eras because like you said, he has a lot of sideman stuff and just a real little bit of stuff that really represents him as a solo cat.
With another one coming soon, apparently.
People thought it might have been some kind of like ARU thing, but I think it was just an excuse for those cats to get together. There is definitely a Jimmy solo record.
I'm very excited.
Coming through.
Yeah. With O'Teal on it too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I know. I when I saw that, I texted Jimmy. I was like, "Come on, buddy, what do?" He's like, "Man, it was so great getting those guys back together and playing."
Yeah.
So he has really 3 as of now, solo albums. He has Lifeboat, which is great. Has one of I would say a modern day jam band standard on it, Rob. And I've seen you play this track a few times, Scapegoat Blues.
I would feel like for jam band world, it's like learning Donna Lee or something. It's like
that's a great great thing. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great comparison.
Can I interject here?
Only if it's good.
That's my favorite song that I've heard over the course of my listening.
It's a great tune.
It's a great tune.
And
as a guitar player, it makes you want. Like the second you hear it, you're like, I want to learn how to play that. Yeah,
it reminds me a lot of. I mean this in the best way. It reminds me a lot of like 80s Mike Stern.
Oh yeah, diminished blues,
like
man.
Thing, like I'm so into that tune, and that's the thing that it really got me thinking about. Like I decidedly over the course of my research now, I can firmly say I'm a Jimmy Herring fan. I like his sound. I like his playing. I like his writing. I just don't, and this is the tough thing.
Don't say
this
a butt. Don't put a butt in there. Don't put a butt in there.
No, hear me out. I think you'll be able to get with this.
Doubt it.
Because I'm going to expect this sort of grace from you with maybe some challenging artists that we're going to cover and have covered that aren't in your wheelhouse. That it's like you have to, for me, in a lot of the settings he's in, it's not that I think it's bad or something. It's just like it's not the music that I listen to, where it's like I have to practice divorcing the guitar playing from the songs and from the setting, right? But like I can do that and hear that Jimmy's great, but I can't, like, it's not stuff I'm going to have repeat listening. His solo albums, I'm there. I think that those are solid.
Incredible.
Those are stuff I stand by, where it's like, I genuinely, I mean, this is the first time hearing that there's a new Jimmy Herring solo record coming out. I will genuinely be excited to hear that album. Because that's what I like about his playing. And I do think he is like a really singular artist.
I've had this experience too a lot where I'll talk about Jimmy Herring with other guitar players even who aren't that familiar with him, and they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, he's in Widespread Panic, right?" And I'm like, "Yes,"
but like, lumped in, right?
Yeah, but like he didn't write any of that. You know, he plays
I didn't know
guitar on it, but like he didn't write any of that music. Well, maybe he helped later on, I'm sure, but you know, like it's not very representative of his like creative self necessarily. And then I'm like, you got to check out Lifeboat and Subject to Change Without Notice. You know.
I like that's his music. I like the first record too, or is that the first record? Or
Lifeboat's the first one.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at them in opposite order. I liked Endangered Species too.
Oh yeah, that's kind of a tough one to find. You almost have to like in Spotify. It's in like also appears on way at the bottom.
That's a hard one to find.
Yeah.
So when we go to Subject to Change, this was the record that I went. The tour after this record is when I went and saw him. And when you talk about Donna Lee, I think, although I like Scapegoat Blues better, I think the real Donna Lee challenge is 12 keys off that record.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's this bebop head that just literally goes through all 12 keys.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was great watching them work that out.
Yeah. I can't even hum that one right now. You know, it's a deep cut. But I meant that Scapegoat would be more like that because it's like kind of like a tune everybody should have in their back pocket where you might actually like play it if everybody there knows it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I mean, it's his most popular solo tune, and it's the one that people cover online the most.
Yeah, like you might get to some pickup gig and everybody's like, "Oh, I know that one too," and then you could play. You know what I mean? It's a good one to just like have in your arsenal.
I think I requested Scapegoat at a Dopapod gig and was turned down.
Probably wasn't my fault that it got turned down. I love playing it.
No, when you guys came to Iowa, I was like, "You're right. You're literally at Gabe's in that tiny green room, and you're like, oh yeah, let's." What? I was like, "You guys want to play Scapegoat? You guys play Scapegoat tonight?" And you're like, "Okay." And somebody else was like, and I get it. It's like if you don't keep that up, that can That's stressful. It can be stressful to play that tune. You're like feels like a little like recital mode. You're like, oh god, am I gonna remember all of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then next we have the Aquarium Rescue Unit era. And both with Colonel Bruce and without. So there's 2 albums with Colonel Bruce and 2 and an EP without Colonel Bruce. For me, Mirrors of Embarrassment is kind of the way to go. I think I'm with you on that. You know, Shoeless Joe, Trondasa, My Eagles, No Eagles Underwater. I really liked hearing guitar and mandolin, those lines they play together.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Matt and Mundy, so great.
I like that. Well, I mean, any of those early ones are like this, but you could listen to that album and just focus on a different member of the band each time, and you'd be equally blown away. Like I could do a whole pass of that record only listening to like Matt Mundy or O'Teal, and I would be just as interested if I was in guitar head mode. You know.
Only downside for Nick is that John Popper plays harmonica on one of the tracks.
He does. It's true. But I feel like the writing on that is really amazing. Like it's really like from the heart. Like Colonel Bruce, as absurd as he is like still a poet. Like there's some like amazing lyrical stuff on there too. And yeah.
I'll say one thing about Aquarium Rescue Unit that I probably haven't gotten over. No, I definitely haven't gotten over is that the way that it was pitched to me was described to me before I heard the band. And I heard, what I heard described about Colonel Bruce, I put together as being like Beefheart. And I'm a big Captain Beefheart fan. And it does not sound like Captain Beefheart. And so it's
more like their mentality was similar.
Yeah, I think
I could see that.
Yeah.
I can see how, but it's like I put together like the description of their music, and when you decide, and this is my own fault, but I think this is just something about listening that is natural. We all do it. It's like you decide what something sounds like when somebody describes it. I mean, this is like as a music journalist, this is that you can't just. I always try and remember that you can't actually describe music to somebody who's never heard it and get it right.
Yeah.
Even the best music journalists do not do this, and the best people describing the best musicians are not able to describe exactly what you're. So it's like it's this futile thing, but it was explained to me what this band sounded like, and I had it in here, and it sounded so much like Beefheart, and I was like, this is this other thing, and then I heard it, and it's like they're their own trip, they're their own thing, but there's that disappointment sort of never goes away from me when I set an expectation for what something's supposed to sound like, because I want to hear the thing that I imagined, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Did you see Rob, or I'm sure Nick didn't, but did you see Aquarium Rescue Unit on their reunion tour?
Yeah, I saw them at Brooklyn Bowl. That was the first time I got to meet Jimmy too, so that was cool. Really cool. And I ended up like watching the whole show with Alex Skolnick from Testament. He was just really nice, and I was standing next to him, and he was like, "Come out back afterwards. I know Jimmy. I'll introduce you to him," and he did, and I got to talk to him. So that was really cool.
Right before that gig is when I wrote a feature where Alex interviewed Jimmy, because we were talking about that gig, because they had reconnected for a while. This is in the, I believe this is in the story, but how they first connected was, so Jimmy was in Aquarium Rescue Unit when Jimmy was in Aquarium Rescue Unit the first time, and they were really touring. That's when Alex first kind of got wind of him, right?
Okay.
Then Aquarium Rescue Unit breaks up, whatever, 93 or whatever, 94. And Jimmy was looking for work. So he reached out to Alex to see if he could be his guitar tech.
I heard that.
Yes. Right. And Alex is like, no. Like, no, that's not, And so they had kind of known each other then, and Jimmy was a fan of Alex and vice versa. And then when I had this idea, because I knew Alex obviously, had jazz interests and pretty jazz leaning, and maybe jam band curious in some ways. And I was like, oh, wouldn't that be great if he interviewed Jimmy? And they did like a 2.5 hour interview.
I gotta find that interview. It
was great.
It's amazing.
Well,
maybe I have read it. Maybe that's why I know about the guitar tech story.
Oh yeah, that's the only place I've ever heard it.
Maybe I have seen it then. But that tidbit was always really inspiring to me as like a guy with kids who plays guitar and whose band has broken up several times.
Yeah.
like even Jimmy Herring is like, I need work. Like maybe I could be a guitar tech. and he's just a player. Like he's never not going to hold a guitar. He'll do anything to just keep a guitar in his hands.
Yeah.
And then he didn't have to. I think he got the Jazz is Dead call next and just kept
It was. I think it was a fairly short moment there.
Yeah.
Isn't
it a nice comforting thing though to be like, even like your hero has had this moment of like unsurety, you know?
They're just like us.
Yeah.
Just like us. And I think
that's really cool.
Yeah. This
also
tidbit has gained some lore through our episodes, Nick. We've mentioned it in several different episodes, but the Zakk Wylde Allman Brothers thing.
Yeah.
One of the calls they made before they landed on Zakk was Jimmy.
Yeah.
And he couldn't make it or couldn't do it or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, there's a really famous story about like Jimmy doing an Allman Brothers gig, and they all just like O'Teal was there too, and they just went off. They did like a half-hour mountain jam, and like Greg flipped out on everybody on the bus afterwards.
We just talked about that with Alan Paul, like 2 episodes ago or whatever.
Yeah, like he like made a reference to Fish and then slammed the door to the bus or something.
That's in Alan's book. That's where I first heard it. That's
okay. Great. I've read that book. That's great. Yeah.
And Jimmy also got offered, was recommended by John McLaughlin for Return to Forever.
Wow. Oh wait, is Lenny White Return to Forever?
Mm-hmm.
Was he the drummer? The first time I ever saw Jimmy live, he was playing with Lenny White.
Yeah.
And
he had he just had too much work with Panic. He just couldn't do it, you know.
I don't know. Yeah. But it was in a hotel bar. There wasn't even a stage. They were set up on the floor.
What? You saw Jimmy Herring and Lenny White in a hotel bar on the floor.
Yeah, it was in it was like around the Harvard area of Boston, and yeah, it was just like
who was playing with him?
Was sitting at tables. The only person whose name I remember is, and I might even get it wrong, was Tom Guarena. Was the other the other guitar player, and he was amazing. He was great.
Was O'Teal on bass?
No, I can't remember the bass player's name.
Because I know Tom and O'Teal are close.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't O'Teal. He's the only other guy I remember being in the band, though. Yeah, gotcha. I think there was also a bass player and a keys player.
All right. So the next thing you touched on was the Endangered Species record, which was this one-off record with T. Lavitz from the Dixie Dregs. Mm-hmm. Who it goes to say that Jimmy Herring might be the biggest Steve Morse fan in the world.
Yeah,
maybe outside of John Petrucci. With Richie, basically it's the rhythm section from Little Feat, the keyboard player from Dixie Dregs, and Jimmy. And I feel like Tone Center around this time in the early 2000s was just putting together a lot of these one-off records. They're like, what'll happen if we put these 4 people in?
With like the weirdest cover art ever.
Yeah, with the weirdest cover art ever. I don't think these bands even really did any gigs.
Yeah. There is a if you just sit and watch some of the Jazz is Dead footage on YouTube long enough, they play some Endangered Species tunes in there. But yeah, it's not even really a band. It's just, I don't know what it was.
I would love to ask Jimmy about that record, because there's a fair amount, a couple anyways, as I'm looking here, 3 tunes that were Jimmy tunes that he wrote.
Really? Which ones?
Headstrong.
That's the first one, right?
Yep. Pickled
That
Hearing.
one's kind of like a prototype for Scapegoat Blues to me a little bit.
It is.
Still the diminished thing. Yeah.
And then Lockwood Folly. And then T. Lavitz wrote the rest of them. But that might be like maybe his first foray into, because that was 2001. You know, it's 7 years before his first solo record. That might be his first foray into writing his own tunes.
It could be, yeah. And they're such good tunes, you know.
And then we got Nick's favorite, Croakin at Toads. I mean, how can you not spend 16 minutes with a tune called Eddie's Got a Boyfriend?
Did you ever notice that they did the Pledge of Allegiance? Yes.
That's great. And I think one of the most under-recorded modern guitar duos, even though there's a fair amount on there, is Derek and Jimmy.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to hear what a band with those two guys, you know, like a 5-piece band with those two guys just ripping heads all night would be great.
Do you want to? I just heard a story that kind of gave me goosebumps when I heard it. Was that you're friends with Tim Palmieri too, right?
I know who he is. Yeah.
He's one of my favorite guitar players too, and just incredible. But he told me, oh no, his drummer Adrian, who I'm in another group with, told me that the first time Tim ever even heard who Jimmy Herring was he was at the Croakin at Toad's show at Toad's place. And just to imagine like a 17-year-old Tim being like, "Who is this guy?"
And just getting his head ripped off.
Yeah, that's a bit. And he didn't even know who Jimmy Herring was. He had to like ask people. I just thought that was cool. Yeah.
All right,
but yeah, I wish there was more recordings of those two together. There should be. Yeah.
All right, a couple more eras here we need to touch on. What are your thoughts, Rob, on the Project Z stuff?
Well, that's more Derek and Jimmy, which is good. A lot of that has both of them on it. Yep. But I haven't listened to as much of it as the other records. There's two of them, right?
Yeah. They came out 01 and 05, and to me, it's a bit more like freeform.
Some of it's out. Yeah.
Some of it's very out, which I thought Nick would be very into.
Was that sarcasm?
No, it's not. I really thought he would.
Cool. Oh, good.
Nick likes the weird stuff. So
but I like Mudbug.
I listened to the Project Z stuff.
Yeah, I like Mudbug and Augusta's Ankle and stuff. There's some tunes I love in there. Yeah,
it's to me personally. I feel like it's harder to connect with that just because of how it is. It's really notey. It's really fusiony.
Yeah,
but it is a really good display of guitar pyrotechnics.
Yeah, well, some records I kind of, even if I don't listen to them all the time, I love hearing records where I feel like it was just the musicians doing whatever they wanted to do and not even worrying if anybody would like it or not.
Right.
And I kind of feel like those records are that.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what that is.
Yeah, I appreciate it for that. And it's not even that I don't like it, it's that I almost just kind of like forget it's there sometimes, which is sort of nice about it, because then when I'm like, is there anything I haven't fully checked out of his yet? Like, I haven't listened to those all the way through yet, so there's always more undiscovered territory,
So then we get to, and I'm going to kind of lump these in together. The Jazz is Dead stuff, which was right around the turn of the century, 98, 99, 01, is when he did those three records. And then also the time he spent with Phil Lesh and the quartet, or the quintet, I should say. To me, him and Warren were such a great match for that music. That's easily my favorite Phil Lesh lineup.
I've heard many people say that it's their favorite.
Yeah, and hearing Jimmy on those Dead tunes, like that really opened up another door of that material for me, hearing him on those tunes.
I'm not I only just recently started checking out like YouTube videos and just bootlegs of his time with Phil, because I'm not really a Grateful Dead guy, but I wanted to hear more Jimmy Herring, and I love on a lot of those he's using just like a plain old Strat with single coils. I don't even know if he has any pedal. It's like the cleanest sound.
He's not a big pedal guy. I mean, he doesn't have.
His tone's different in it though. It's really clear and like
yes,
maybe it has like a little fur on it, but it's so beautiful though.
It is. Yeah.
I also like a lot of my first times hearing some Grateful Dead songs were the Jazz is Dead versions, like Crazy Fingers and Help on the Way. I heard the Jazz is Dead version before I ever heard
Me too.
The real one. So it's now when I hear the Grateful Dead play Crazy Fingers, I'm like kind of like, where's the soaring? I don't need to hear the lyrics, I just want to hear. Yeah. Anyways.
I mean, the Blues for Allah medley on that first record really. And they even play Red Baron on there, which isn't, it wasn't a Dead
just
tune.
for the hell of it, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, the what's the like they throw some random jazz head into the Blues for Allah medley. It's so good. I played that once. I talked some people into doing that on like a Tuesday night gig. We did the whole medley. That was fun.
Nick, did you check out any of the Phil Lesh, Jimmy Herring stuff?
That was the first place I ever heard Jimmy Herring play. Was on the studio record. I didn't check out any of the live stuff in this listening burst.
Yeah, definitely recommend finding some live stuff. I remember they did release some soundboard recordings of that lineup. But I remember I downloaded somebody. I remember trying to find them recently. They're definitely not on streaming.
That's one of the tricky things is like with him being a sideman, sometimes you think he's on it and then you listen for a few minutes and you're like, I don't think he's there, but I'm not sure. Like, oh, it's, and then you look on Wikipedia and you're like, never mind. It was like Larry Campbell, which is still great.
Still great, but not. Yeah. And then in 2006, he joined Widespread Panic. First gig was at Radio City Music Hall, and he's been with them ever since. They've made 4 studio records. Free Somehow, Dirty Side Down. The very first thing I ever wrote for Premier Guitar was a feature on Jimmy Herring about that record, Dirty Side Down. First track, North, has some great playing by him. That's one of my favorite songs he does.
See, this is undiscovered territory for me. I haven't checked out any of the Panic albums with him on it.
Yeah, I think North. North is a Jerry Joseph song. I think that's great. Shut Up and Drive has some cool stuff he's playing on it. But with a band like Panic, to me, it's like like most jam bands, just dig up the live stuff. And lately, Widespread has been putting out a ton of pro shot stuff on their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So I would recommend starting there and finding some thumbnail that prominently features Jimmy and go from there. Usually has it.
I feel like if it's a video of them at Red Rocks, it's usually like a good one too. Like that seems like they're home away from home. So I usually, if I see them live at Red Rocks, I'll be like, that's probably a video worth watching.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nick, Panic, discuss.
It's not for me.
It's not for you.
It's cool. I think it's not bad. I don't like it as a non-jam band person coming to it. It's not Frogwings, like it's like it doesn't have there's not a hard thing to gate to entry. Like it's cool. Like their songs are cool. Jimmy sounds great. Like I'm down. It's just, it's not, I think I probably had to hear it. Yeah. Like, how do I say this? It's like listening to it now amongst a bunch of other stuff. It's hard to really have a deep connection with anything. And I feel like that's music that people really love and connect with. And like, I'd probably have to hear it in a different setting to really. I didn't connect with it listening to it, but I hear that it's like cool songs, and those guys like deliver the songs really well. It's well made, well performed rock music. Is that? I'm being very diplomatic.
Yeah,
but it's not like I've seen. I mean, I don't want to throw people under the bus, but there are jam bands, popular jam bands that I have seen that I'm just like, nope, this isn't for me. I don't like this approach. I don't like these sounds. And that goes to any genre that is not necessarily my thing. But that doesn't have those markers. Like they have this sort of classic rock thing. Like they rock, right? Like,
yes. I heard somebody call Panic like classic rock jam band.
They're like a classic. Exactly. Yeah. And I like that I'm like, oh, I could get with this. If this were my world, I could see how I would get in here.
I mean, if you think of it strictly in terms of tone and feel, they're the most classic rock. They're whereas String Cheese would be like bluegrass with drums, basically.
Yeah.
Widespread. I would still implore you to go see a Panic show and be like, wow, they rocked harder than I was expecting. That was my approach. I was like, I would
see a Panic show. I would check that out. I'd probably love it.
Jimmy's a particularly loud guitar player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. I would have pinned him for like tastefully, perfectly placed volume.
When Dopapod was on tour once, we went out on a day off. We went and saw Jimmy at like just a bar. He was playing with, I think, Invisible Whip, and I got to watch from the side stage with his guitar tech, who was just telling me about stuff. And he was like, Jimmy plays as loud as he wants. Literally, like, whatever, 10, sure. And then we mixed the rest of the band with him as like the floor that everybody else is mixed on. Whereas like most other bands, like the drums are the floor, and then you mix based on that. It's all
That's awesome.
He plays as loud as he feels like, which I think is 10 most of the time.
It's loud.
And
it's loud. And it's funny, like he has
good
such
loud
an
though.
Interesting approach to gear, because when I did the rig rundown, he had, you know, some kind of Marshall-like head with a 412 cabinet. And then he had a whole fractal Axe effects. This was probably Axe Effects 2 back then, that he only used for reverb.
Which is a Steve Morse thing, isn't it? Isn't that kind of a like doing the wet dry thing?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's using this huge multi-effects unit
for one thing,
just reverb, right? And then his Panic floorboard is just a series of 6 volume pedals, 6 Ernie Ball volume pedals. You know, because he mixes his own. I mean, that's his pedal setup.
It's for his monitors, right?
For his monitors, yeah. And then I think he might have like 1 overdrive and a rotosphere.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's basically
weird.
it.
He's a big volume pedal guy too. Like,
Big
if you ever watched him, his foot is never not on the pedal, and it's rarely all the way up. You know?
You mean volume wise? You mean so like?
Yeah, it's rarely like dimed.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
But that would be fun. I feel like I just want to watch a camera just on his pedal board feet during a show, like just to see how he's thinking about when to bring this person up or this person down.
Yeah.
Or, you know, that would be.
I wonder if it's the kind of thing where after the first couple tunes, like he finds the sweet spot and leaves it alone, or I wonder if it's a constant like what he needs at any given point in time thing.
I can tell you it's the latter. Without a doubt, because
I wouldn't imagine. I couldn't even fathom focusing on that.
The reason is he's like, I really just, and you've met him a couple times. I mean, first of all, the nicest guy
absolutely
of all time. He's like, I just don't want to bother the monitor guy if I need to make a small little adjustment.
He would say that,
and I'm like, exactly right. And it's like, so he would rather have this whole fairly complicated setup.
Yeah.
So that way he doesn't need to bother the person whose entire job it is to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So he must have enough needs where he knows he would be asking for a lot of things then.
I think so. You know, on some tunes, maybe, I don't know, less keyboard, less this or whatever. And probably even room to room, you know, because he's not on ears, it's just on wedges. But when I saw him in Iowa, I was literally in the front row, head level with his amp, and it damn near took my head off. It was loud.
Wow.
I mean, and he started the show with like a clear baffle in front of the amp, in front of his 412. He plays through one song, and he looks over at Joel, and he just shakes his head, and Joel comes out and pulls the baffle off, and I was like, oh, here we go. And then he launched into Love Tractor or something. We're like, whoa, you know.
But man, as loud as it is, like, it's never like spiky.
It's never spiky. It's clear, and it's very, very punchy. Like there's even though he obviously uses reverb and stuff, it's you hear this pure clear tone. You know.
Did he ever, like, earlier on, did he use like more kind of a normal approach, or has it always been kind of strange? Like did he ever use tube screamers or something?
I mean, I feel like he was just always kind of a pedal and give me a pedal and an amp, and maybe I get 2 sounds per night other than what I can do with my volume control.
Yeah.
That's
certainly doesn't need a lot to sound good.
Have you ever seen his college video on his college performance video on YouTube?
Oh yeah, where he's playing the red telly.
Yeah, it's like 85. He's at GIT and he's playing
very Steve Morsey at that point.
Very much so. Very much.
Like got the the pickup configuration the same and everything.
This could have been in that story as well, or maybe it was in another time I interviewed him. But he would like follow around the dregs in North Carolina like people follow around fish, right?
Wow.
And he got to know like the roadie guys, and they would like he would help load out gear.
Wow.
You know, on a dreg show, and I want to say, like, it was like an after party or something, and he was there, and he's probably a teenager or something.
Yeah.
Probably maybe shouldn't have been at an after party like this or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, hey, Steve, this guy plays all your stuff." And this was like, "Yeah." So he handed him a guitar, and he played like a Dregs tune in front of Steve Morris when he was like a teenager.
Wow.
And then they invited him to sit in. So then the next time they were in town, they invited a very young Jimmy Herring to sit in with the Dregs. The next time.
wow.
Steve
I
Morris.
can't imagine there's a recording of that anywhere.
I can't imagine either.
Oh, man.
I mean, you're probably talking, I don't know, 83.
Yeah,
85,
like if you wanted a
somewhere in there?
recording, somebody had to show up with some bus or something that had a ton
Right.
of gear in it.
All right.
Wow.
So what are we missing, guys? Do you think we hit it all?
Well, one thing I was just one that you mentioned, Derek and Jimmy, is the Out of the Madness.
Out of the Madness, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty
Jimmy's all
clutch.
over that. That's probably the closest to maybe what a Jimmy Derek album would sound like.
Nick, if you haven't checked that one
I
out,
have not.
Put it on the
really
list.
like that
Put
one.
it on the list, Nick.
it's great.
Okay.
You still got homework.
Yeah.
And that's a Derek album?
It's a Derek
Yeah.
Trucks band album, called Out of
Okay.
the Madness. It's very
Yeah.
blues fusion-y stuff. There's a lot of
Okay.
straight ahead blues on there.
I'll get with that.
But
There's
Jimmy's
some
like to
really
get
like
that.
kind of complicated, sort of really worked out things too, though.
yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have a favorite. My favorite album has
All
yet to
right.
be mentioned.
Let's
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Let's wrap it up with this.
My favorite song has, but my favorite album is not. It's the stuff with McLaughlin.
Oh, I haven't even listened to that because I'm
Oh,
not really a huge John McLaughlin guy.
You
know?
might not
This
like
is
that
where Nick.
record.
This is where Nick hangs up on you, Rob.
I'm sorry.
That's why. That's why I
sounds
wanted
like that's
him to
not the record for
save
you.
this till the
It's-
end.
Well, I didn't
It's-
say I hate John McLaughlin. That's just
Hey, we're open to all opinions here.
Is that
Um,
what's the cover look like for that one? I feel
Very
like
psychedelic-y,
yeah, it's a real like 60s referential psychedelic.
Bay Area
got it.
looking.
is
stuff.
is John McLaughlin on the record or is it like a tribute
Mm-hmm.
to him? Wow. Okay.
It's a live
Con-
record from the tour they did together.
When Jimmy opened for him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, proceed. Tell
the
me
cover
about
is
it.
like sort of a bird. I'm looking at it now. It's like sort of. I guess it's supposed to be a bird. There's like a triangle and eyeball. Killer group. It's McLaughlin, Jimmy Herring, Gary Husband, and Matt Slocum. A bunch of people. So I guess it's both of their bands, right? Is that the deal, Jason?
Yeah, I think there's
Right.
some songs.
Because there's 2 drums, 2 bass, violin, 2 keys, 2 guitars. So
Yeah,
it's
so,
like,
like,
Gary
I-
Husband's McLaughlin's keyboards. I'm assuming that Matt Slocum is he
Jimmy's. Yep.
He's Jimmy's guy. So okay, double band, huge sound. Like
Yeah.
this
Are they all
album,
they're
it's
all
like-
playing together at the same
Yeah.
time?
Mhm.
Oh
yeah,
man.
so it's like a double band. From the get go, it's just a massive sounding record, and then it's like I'm a huge McLaughlin fan, and hearing the two of those guys going back and forth with each other is amazing. And that's where it's like, man, Jimmy Herring and McLaughlin together, and it's like a gazillion notes, but not tasteless.
Yeah.
I mean, those tunes are so great. It's like they open with Meeting of the Spirits, and hearing them just like really, like it just keeps peaking. They keep taking it higher and higher and higher. I really, really, I've heard this record before, but I hadn't listened to it. I was like listening, reevaluating it, and thinking about Jimmy Herring. And it's like, oh my god, like this is.
I love this because you picked one that
incredible.
I'm not even familiar with, so I get to check out something
You
new.
get to check it out, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
the Invisible Whip group that you saw.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So
Is
they
that
would do
with-
like
Great,
Jimmy's
great
band would
band.
do a set, then John's band would do
Yeah,
a
I
set,
remember
and then
that.
the third set was all of them together, and they would play just all John McLaughlin tunes.
Was that the band when he had 2 keyboard players? He had like Jason Crosby
Yeah, Crosby
and
yeah,
Matt
Crosby
Slocum,
Matt
maybe?
Slocum. Yep. And
Yeah.
Jason played violin and stuff, and Kevin Scott was
Yeah.
on bass.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. And I would tell you, speaking of live records, I have reason to believe there's a live record in the can of that Aquarium Rescue Unit reunion tour.
Oh, really?
I have reason to believe that.
I would love to hear that. I listen to I feel like this is an exclusively jam band person thing, but I go on Archive and listen to the Brooklyn Bowl show I went to like pretty regularly too. You got to have, you got to not be an audiophile to tolerate it, which
Right.
thankfully I'm not. Like, I don't care. Like, I was there, I can like use my imagination a little bit, but I love listening back to that. And there's some weird tunes that I've never heard before or since that are on there, That's a fun one.
Maybe
too.
they'll end up on this next Jimmy record.
I would love that. That'd be so cool.
That'd be great. All right,
There's a lot
Rob.
to look forward to.
Thank you so much, buddy, for hanging out and embarrassing Nick by just talking jam bands with me for an hour.
Thank you for asking me. I mean, this is what we do when we catch up anyways. So
right.
I was all for it, man.
This
know?
is great.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks to Rob for joining us and talking
Yes.
about Jimmy Herring.
What
do you think, Jason?
What do I think? I think the same thing I thought an hour ago.
You think
Jimmy
he's
Herring's
the
one of the
best?
greatest ever.
I've really enjoyed checking this out. It's something I knew I needed to do for a long time. And thank you for the opportunity.
And I want to give a shout out. We should have dug this up. We had a reader write in a while back saying, if you guys don't do a Jimmy Herring episode, it's blasphemy or whatever. Shout out to that.
There it is.
Shout out to that guy.
Yes, thanks for writing it in. And if you want to write in and tell us who would be blasphemous of us not to include, please hit us up at 100guitarists at premierguitar.com. And you can text or leave a voicemail at 319-423-9734.
There we go. Thanks again to Rocky Mountain Slides. Check out their picks as well as slides. Head over, there's a link below. Check them out. And we'll see y'all next time.
See you next time.